Sadly, we are well aware that the Sun Coast is at the center of the opioid crisis, and as a result, some of our youngest residents are drastically affected. Every 30 minutes, a baby exposed to opioids is born. And Dr. Prabhu Parimi, the director of Johns Hopkins All Children's Neonatal Institute, is here to tell us about what opioids mean for newborns. Welcome, doctor. So, it's a very scary statistic. What happens to a baby who has been exposed to opioids in utero?
Sure. I think it's important to sort of point out that when the baby is in utero, there is a constant supply of opioids from the mother to the baby. At the time of birth, there's an abrupt discontinuation of opioids. As a consequence, babies demonstrate withdrawal symptoms from opioid anywhere between 3 to 5 days after birth. And these include babies who cry incessantly, irritability, the tone is increased, and sweat profusely. And some of these babies may also have convulsions and also have poor feeding patterns.
Oh, sounds heartbreaking. So tell us what Johns Hopkins All Children's is doing for these cases. And there is a specific name for a baby who is coming off an opioid pregnancy.
Right, it's called neonatal abstinence syndrome.
Okay.
That's a name given to babies who are exposed to opioids and then demonstrate symptoms post-birth.
What can you do?
So what we have done at Johns Hopkins All Children's is took a different approach. And that is that we have put these babies in an area within the neonatal ICU and put the expertise around. And these include occupational therapists, musical therapy, speech therapy, and dedicated group of physicians. And the results are really startling. So what we have done as a consequence of what we call cohorting is reduce the length of stay the babies have in the neonatal ICU from 13 to 9 days.
Oh,
Decrease the exposure of medication. We have to use medications to treat these babies to almost 40% reduction. And I think the key thing that I need to sort of emphasize also is that those babies who are eligible to breastfeeding, we were able to demonstrate that increase from 69 to 100%.
Wow.
So I think this cohorting them is a great approach to help these babies to recover quickly and be able to discharge home.
What is the long-term prognosis? I mean, rough start to life. How much of that are you able to reverse?
No, there's not much known. There is some sort of a conflicting data at this point in time. I think what is important is that we know that there's emerging information about effect of opioids and developing brain in utero. So there is some data to show at around 18 to 24 months after birth, these babies may demonstrate behavioral symptoms and some developmental issues. But again, I think it's very important to underscore that data is still under investigation. So more work needs to be done to shed light on both the long-term consequences of babies exposed to opioids.
I'm not sure we want to know the answer to this next question. How often are you seeing this here in our area?
So at Johns Hopkins All Children's, I think I'll tell you two things. At Sarasota, we manage anywhere between 100 to 120 babies every year born at the Sarasota Memorial Hospital and being cared for in our Sarasota outpatient care clinic to see if there are any issues. At Johns Hopkins All Children's, we admit anywhere between 120 to 150 babies every year exposed to opioids.
Okay, so that's 100 here and another 150 in St. Pete.
Absolutely.
Wow, then we really are the epicenter of this problem.
Yes.
Indeed is.
That's frightening. That's very frightening. So you are doing lots of different things to tell the community about this, one of them being the Johns Hopkins Community Program aimed to help women. Tell us about the program that's coming up and how your opioid background is going to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think the women's journey is about to start in Wednesdays. We have 3 consecutive days. We are focusing on the health issues pertaining to women. And opioid is a big issue. 30% of women in the childbearing age group receive opioids. Every 3 minutes, a woman receives care in the emergency room for misuse of opioids. So there's a lot of work that we have to do, reaching out to the community. But I think the 2 key things that we really need to talk about is destigmatize it and really talk about the consequences of using opioids. What's happening is the consequence, mothers are not presenting into prenatal care at an early stage. They're coming in late. That may lead to babies being born low birth weight and premature. So much work needs to be done before pregnancy, during pregnancy, to mitigate the consequences of opioids on the developing brain of the baby and the long-term consequences.
So you want honesty. You want the women to be able to say to their doctor, I've made a mistake, or maybe they don't even think it's a mistake. I've had opioids, so that you are prepared for the baby.
Absolutely. I think so. We are reaching out to the community. We are collaborating with PAR, collaborating with the OB and MFM physicians to launch this educational campaign so that they can come in and then provide this care throughout pregnancy, and then to see if we can potentially detoxify by resorting to a different agent which will have less effects on the baby, and babies can be home early.
What a heartbreaking side effect of the whole issue.
Yes.
So thank you to Johns Hopkins All Children's for the work that you are doing to help these babies, and we love that you're spreading it right down to Sarasota as well. A Woman's Journey Sarasota will be held at the Sarasota Ritz-Carlton. That is coming up on Friday, March 2nd. For more information, you can go to hopkinsallchildrens.org and then / A Woman's Journey 2018. Coming up next, Manatee School for the Arts previews the musical Godspell.